Welcome to the Bodybuilding Banter Podcast, your number one source of all things bodybuilding. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on future episodes. Now, here's your host, Leroy Rollins.
What do we want to talk about, boys? How's things?
James has got the most going on right now.
Yeah, let's go one by one. So we'll start with James and his shadow prep that we're not going to talk about a whole lot. But have you started?
We have started the prep before the prep.
Okay.
Yes.
So viewers at home, he's not prepping yet. He's prep.
And that's a term that 3DMJ loves to throw around. I think they're the ones that kind of like started talking about that the most, but pretty much just like not starting your prep at, for me, 50, 55 pounds over stage weight.
50% body fat?
Yeah, I was heavy, but it wasn't like the body fat wasn't bad. For reference, last time I was on stage, my best lift was probably about 163 pounds. And I got up to like 215. And most of my off season was like 205.
Oh.
So I was 205 for like 6 or 7 months. So
Are you pretty cozy around that, like 205, 200?
I'm thick, but I'm not.
I mean, like
I could be cuddled with comfortably.
yeah.
It's not that painful to move up or down from there. It's like
No.
my body pushes back around like 190 is when it's like, oh God, it's just doesn't like it. It does not like it.
Yeah, I can chill right now at like 200, 205 and be comfortable and just kind of be intuitive about it, and it's no big deal.
Yep.
Getting above that's where it started getting pretty uncomfortable, and I was just like shoving stuff in my mouth late at night.
Yeah.
5 minutes. That's all we
James
need.
is the one that made the inappropriate comment.
Yep.
I started that by.
So, obviously, without going into too much detail, the stage in the spring, that's the plan?
That is the goal. The goal is honestly to try and do as many shows as are being held within some sort of reasonable distance in as many organizations as possible, just to kind of test the waters, see what I like, and to kind of spread our name a little bit too. So
most shows are going on these days, it seems like, right?
Yeah. I mean, if they're already going on now, I can't imagine. Like, I know things are getting worse, but they've kind of figured it out a little bit now, hopefully. So.
Yeah, well, it's not the apocalypse anyways.
Yes. No more classic physique. I'm trying to get shredded to the bone and just get super duper lean. At least that's the plan. Who knows? If I hit the early show and I'm not like super happy with my conditioning, I might do a classic show, but I don't know. I think my real interest is bodybuilding now, just because I feel like I'll be more competitive as a lightweight bodybuilder than I was just mixed in with any classic physique competitor.
Sure.
You saw Brett's cheese grater glutes and you wanted some of that.
Absolutely.
It's still the nastiest pictures I've ever seen.
Gross. When people ask me like how lean I want to get, I tell them like I want to see my heartbeat like through my stomach.
That's solid. That's a good reference point.
Yeah.
And Dan, how are you?
Yeah.
I'm hanging in there, man.
Just hanging, eh?
The last few months have been busy, crazy, lots of things going on. Work's been busy with other stuff, managing a lot of things. Handful of injuries that are just all popping up all at once, which is always fun.
It's always how it goes. I find.
All pretty much unrelated things too. It's just like, left tricep. It seems to be more on my left side. Left tricep, left hamstring, left adductor. My right pec has always been a little finicky. Hasn't been too bad, but
you're doing too much forearms, not enough everything else.
Apparently,
that's my professional
that's
diagnosis.
The one. That's what's been feeling good. All the forearm work is. I actually had a light forearm strain, maybe in like the summer, but it's
left side. Not even surprised.
Hasn't flared up since though. So, and it was like super mild too. It wasn't anything like.
Yeah.
But all in all, pretty good. I can't really complain though. Life's good in general.
Good.
So
Good.
Making moves.
I had a call with Cliff this morning. Last time we spoke was October, so.
I was gonna say, how often you touching base with him? Yeah, okay.
I'd say 8 to 10 weeks. I'll send him photos, and we'll do a little video call. So we just half hour this morning, just went over things, kind of ironed out semi-official game plan of timelines and what those timelines are going to look like, where I'm at now, where he wants me to be. So it's exciting now. Now it's getting actually kind of real.
It's your first extended off season, so
yeah,
it's a little different.
Yeah, by the time, I was supposed to compete this year, but by the time I step on stage again, it'll be 3 years. Yeah, from 19.
You're going to notice a big change. You're already looking juicy.
I was going to say, you've already done more in this off season of like 3 months than most people do in like a year, so you're off to a good start.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. My body's giving me all good things, so I'm trying to ride it out as much as I can. I'm now getting to the point where, like you touched on, Dan, there, where your body starts to fight you a little bit with the food. I'm starting to creep to that spot, and then like training wise, I'm getting to like strength levels where my body needs so much recovery time, and I have to be so smart with volume, or I just get so beat up. Like I just bought this week a friggin' inversion table for my back. I've been making a point now, like starting this week, every rest day to do like yoga and stretching in the mornings when I first get up. So I need to start paying more attention to that stuff, or my body's going to start to get too deteriorated, which is obviously not good.
Yeah, when you play around with big weights, some of it's just part of the game, man.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I think some people think that you can just stay injury free all the time. It's like, you start loading 400 pounds in the bar. It's like lots of things can happen. Like even if you're precise and perfect on paper.
Yeah, my knees are fucked from squatting on Sunday. Just destroyed.
That's not good.
No. So I'm gonna
try to avoid the joint pain mostly. But.
Yeah, I'm being a meathead one more weekend, and then squats are out for a bit.
That's like so when I hit that 405 squat, like the only time I've done it, that was kind of an auto-regulated call because I could tell like something terrible was coming down the pipeline. I was like way too well, and I was supposed to, I think, do like 395 or something for like 2, and I was like, yo, Brett, like I've never hit 405. I got it in me. I got to do it now because
it's now or never.
Something's gonna happen.
Before I snap my shit up.
Yeah, and literally like the next like 2 weeks worth of squats, like we did like deload after that, but still like 335 was like crushing me because my body was just like, screw you, like you're not doing this anymore.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a run at 450 on the weekend just to see like on my back. I would have loved to hit like 450 for 5 was kind of like what I had floating around in my head. But I did 440 for 4 yesterday, and it was just like from the first rep, I was like, holy fuck, this is heavy, this hurts. I'm invested now, I'll finish the set, but if I could hit it for 2 or 3, I'll be happy. And then squats are taking a back seat for a little bit.
Yeah, and you can always come back to it too in 6 months or whatever too, after you rotate in a new movement and rotate that out. So it's at the end of the day, we're bodybuilders. We're not powerlifters. Like the numbers are nice. Like I think that's something you should strive for. But like it's nobody asks you what you squat on stage. Like
number 25. What'd you squat 8 weeks out? Yeah, and Cliff and I.
Funny thing is, I can remember what I was like. Some of the numbers, just like in the late parts of my prep, like what I was hitting, just like very memorable.
Yeah, Cliff and I have talked about that. He's like, the way I see you train, he's like, you're like me in that you want like very attainable, trackable progress. He's like, and you're the load guy. You want 5 pounds, 5 pounds, 5 pounds, 5 pounds. Whereas eventually, like, it doesn't just go on forever, right? Which, you know, if it did, we'd all be lifting thousands of pounds by the time we're 50 years old. It just doesn't work like that. He's like, eventually it becomes to a point where it's a lot of it's got to be connection based and the mind muscle, you know, and stuff that you feel the most. He's like, I guarantee you don't feel those squats. I was like, fuck no.
Just focus on not dying.
Yes, I just need to stand up.
I just need to not snap my spine in half and make it down and all the way up. That's what I need to do.
Yeah. So for me, it's understanding that, but also still getting my bit of meathead fix, at least a few sets a week, which is why I'm still deadlifting.
Yeah, I mean, not like that won't yield you good hypertrophy anyways. It's just at a certain point, it kind of almost is like, okay, I need to rinse this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like like I did squats and everything yesterday, leg press, all the usual stuff, and like I'm not muscularly, my glutes are like a 2 out of 10 sore. Nothing else is sore. So, you know, I know soreness isn't always an indicator, but the fact that my knees are poached today and nothing else is probably not a good sign.
Yeah.
But
probably.
We'll worry about that later.
That's the best mentality to have.
Yeah.
There's lots of leg variations you can use. There's lots of different squats and hack squats and leg presses and all sorts of fun and torturous stuff you can do to yourself. So
I just gotta get creative in my little garage.
You got all sorts of stuff. You got like pendulum squat, leg press, hack squat, barbells, and dumbbells. Like you literally don't need anything else. And
Leroy, you need to get yourself a transformer bar like me.
What'd you say there, James?
You even have like the actual leg extension and a leg curl. Like you're not even just free weight. Like I think you literally have every piece of leg equipment that I would ever use.
Yeah, I just gotta make it all work within the week. I find like just with like trying to get enough like good volume in, being smart about that with just where my strength's at. I'm really a lot of low volume right now, and it's paying off. But I feel like I might have to start just getting a little bit more, you know, adding a third set into certain movements just so I get more out of it versus, you know, 1, 2, done. 1, 2, done. Just
if you can tolerate and recover from it, then
it's just being smart with where to put it, right? Like I know if I was to do another, like right now even I cut my deadlifts down to literally 1 set because I know. Because now I moved it. I was talking to actually AJ about it. I moved my deadlift because I wanted to put the hack squat somewhere, but I knew if I tried to fit it in either on my deadlift day or my squat day, I was going to be just, my CNS would be fried trying to do it all at once. So he said to move it to pull day, which was before legs. And I was like, okay, I'm only going to do 1 set, lower rep range, just get in, get out, and hopefully everything's cool by tomorrow. And it seemed like I seem to be recovering fine from that, but like even something that simple, like if I was to do 2 sets of deadlift, I'd probably my lower back would be fried by the time I was to do like a hack squat or something, right?
Yeah, I think picking set counts according to the movement and muscle you're training is probably a good idea too. Yeah. Like I think I guess I tend to employ what most would call like a in general, like a high volume approach, but if you look at my leg training, it's really not very high volume at all. Like maybe like 6 to 10 sets of like quad work a week. Maybe getting into like 12 or so if I'm using leg extensions because they're not very damaging. But like, you know, direct like hack squats, it's like maybe, you know, 3 sets a session twice a week. Like I rarely even get to the point where I can recover from a 4th set. Yep. So it's like, but you look at my delt work, it's like, you know, it's just masochism.
That's like my chest. I do like 6 sets of chest a week and I'm done.
Yeah, well, we know why. Yeah, we don't need to get into that, Leroy. No need to.
It's so weird. Literally, I do 2 sets of incline, 2 sets of flat, and some flies, and my chest is fried for like 3 days.
Yeah,
like It's just like one of those muscle groups that like it's I don't know why you just
takes a lot of damage. Yeah.
Well, it's just like I don't connect with it if that's the phrase we want to use, but I must connect with it so well because I can do so little, be sore. Like it's not like my legs where I'm like not sore from it. Like I literally will do 6 sets of chest. That's it, and 2 days after I've still got DOMs.
It's effective.
Yeah.
My chest gets kind of sore, and probably not as much as you, but yeah. But a lot of people echo similar sentiments.
So James, is anything changing for you training wise over the next 6 months?
My training's really been dictated right now just on like outside factors. Like my work schedule's changed a couple times with COVID. I'm starting a couple new ventures with other things, so like I've adapted for that. Plus Bella, having a child at home, training's changed there. So for a long, long time, I was really only training 3 days a week. Now I'm doing 4, and I'm doing 2 days in the garage gym, so that's all pretty much barbell, dumbbell, and then I have like that plate-loaded leg extension leg curl.
By the way, that banded setup is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's smart.
I've never seen that before.
I was going to use my lifting belt, but it wasn't long enough, so I was like, all right, let me just get the toughest band I have and just kind of pin myself in place, and it worked. So yeah, 2 days are like super simplistic, and that's like my heavy, high intensity days, almost like what you do.
Yep.
And then I have 2 days where I go to a local gym and do more of like pendulum squat, leg press, high volume stuff. Yeah, so it's
and avoid all the people there.
Really, when I go, like I find weird times to go, and I technically have a partnership with them, so I have the key to the gym. I can go whenever.
Oh, that's nice.
But like I've gone and there's been one person in the gym beside me, so it's nice.
That's
and
not bad.
They like fog the whole gym 3 days a week, and everyone's like wearing masks, so I feel pretty safe there.
I wonder if there would be a place for doing like say you did like 4 sessions a week, if you did 2 kind of like the low volume, higher intensity stuff, and then 2 just not stupid volume, but like a lot of volume, like a higher rep, throw in supersets and drop sets. I wonder if that would yield like as good a benefit versus committing to one or the other.
That's pretty much what we're doing.
Yeah.
Let some supersets, some myo reps, a lot of like 15 to 25 rep range on things, like leg press and lateral raises and all sorts of crazy stuff. So yeah, that's really what we are doing with it. Cool. And I'm liking it. It keeps things fresh. I'm not pounding myself in the dirt. Like pretty much if I can make it through the first 2 sessions, the last 2 are, I don't want to say easy because I challenge myself, but I recover from them so quickly.
Yeah, so that's where I'm finding like, every session there's like at least 1 or 2 heavy ass things that I'm like, I gotta get a little bit mentally prepared for, and I know I'm gonna be like battered from, like whether it's some kind of like incline bench, like if I go through the week, it's like incline bench, flat dumbbell, deads, that plate loaded squat, a barbell squat. Like I just know all these things are just gonna rip my body apart, and it's like every session you have to mentally like, all right, here we go.
Yeah,
that wears on you too. I don't think people appreciate that, but that in of itself, like I know tomorrow morning I got a deadlift, and I'm already like, like, I can wake up at 6, and I know I'm gonna be deadlifting like an hour and a half from now, and I have to like go through the preparation for that, and you don't appreciate how much that kind of takes its toll as well, right?
Yeah, that psychological thing. That's actually a big reason I like using RIR and scaling it, because it's not like I'm having to take it there every single session. Like, I mean, even a squat to like a true 4IR, not like a, like a 10 RIR called a 4IR, like a legit 4IR is hard, but like taking it to like 0 to 1 is just like, it's just exhausting, like psychologically. I even find like actually right now I'm in my last week of a meso, and like I'm taking things like to 0 to 1 RIR. and like I find myself like just like mentally exhausted. Like it's even like after a session, like when a session's finished, I'm mentally like anxious.
Yeah.
Just taking sets all the way for 2 hours. It's like I'm just like on edge, and it's weird. It happens to me like every single or almost every single last week of a meso at some point, and it's like, yeah, it's just it's a lot to do. So
That's why I'm trying to get like a lot of different recovery modalities in place now, because I like it. I really enjoy what I'm doing right now, but I can pick up on the negative consequences, if you want to call them that are starting to pile up. Like not only the physical fatigue and the aches and pains and stuff like that, which par for the course, but the, like you mentioned, the mental fatigue from it, a little bit of, pre-training anxiety that, is a stress in of itself, right? So I'm trying to like, okay, get in charge of recovery, make a point on rest days to stretch, yoga, like meditate, stuff like that. The inversion table, like trying to do all these things that can kind of still keep things relatively balanced instead of just completely shifting to like you're pounding yourself into the ground and you're not doing anything to build yourself out of that, right?
Yeah, and I think that's why, like, you kind of have to use, if you're going to use a high intensity approach of taking sets all the way or close to it all the time, you have to manage your volume accordingly. Like, doing that with a high volume approach is just asking for just trouble in so many regards.
And that's for people that actually know how to really take it there.
Right? I just operate on that assumption. Yeah, I just in our discussions, I assume you actually know what intense training is. Like I said, not sandbagging.
And that's not a knock on anybody. I think any of us early on would have been like, oh yeah, like I train hard, like I train close to failure, or I took that set to failure. But like now that we've been lifting it's been lifting longer than me, but I think this last off season for me was really where it like I found that other gear where it was like, this is gonna suck, but I have 3 more for sure.
It's kind of just taking it one rep at a time and like kind of evaluating, like kind of taking yourself outside of your body and like, yes, that hurt a lot, but how quickly did the bar move or how quickly did the weight move? It's like, if you're thinking, holy shit, I'm in so much pain, but the weight's moving, it's like, you're still good, bro. Like, just fucking quit being a pussy.
Well, and once you have that true neural control, too. I mean, think about beginners when they bench and fail, they're like pinned immediately. It's like go down, hits the chest, and they can't move it. Where like if we're going to fail, it's like we're up, and then it stalls, and then you're still fighting it on the way down because you have that control over.
You still have the control.
Yeah.
It's not the kid on the bench press just save me.
Help.
Which
someone.
I've been there, so
I mean, there's videos of me within this past year crawling out from underneath the bar.
I remember that.
Both squat and bench.
I remember that.
I missed the bench today and had to rack like throw it into onto the safeties, so it was fun.
I
got caught at a weird angle too, so I was like,
I did make a call that this weekend for the big squat, I will be squatting in the rack just in case.
Smart.
There's been a few reps over the last month that have, well, if this goes wrong, this is going to land on my cement floor and do some damage. So I figure this weekend we'll go in the rack, and that way if shit goes south, we're just gone. Shut her down.
Get yourself some safety straps too. That's what I recommend.
Yeah, they're good, eh?
They are. Not the rep ones though. They've had, I don't know if there's been a fiasco recently where all their welds are failing, but the safety straps in general, I'm a fan. I think they should just swap those out for pins. I think they're better than pins, but in terms of like protecting your bar, and they're actually easier to work with. But that's a tangent.
Don't get Dan on the what's the word I'm looking for? The quality of gym equipment, or we'll be here all night.
Yeah, you could get me going. Honestly, though, you could get my brother going more. My brother knows more. My brother's more dangerous than me. James, I told you that. He's like, dude, I asked him, I said, like, what do you think about this piece of equipment? He has an opinion on it. It's like, he's like, gone down the rabbit hole, which is awesome.
Yeah, we were just talking about it today because I'm trying to buy. I got like 4 voice memos from Dan, like while I'm at work, about like, discussing the pros and cons and the ethics of the company and like everything.
Did you know they're all not vegans? I can't buy from them. They all wear leather jackets when they make this fucking equipment. How about some new pros in the natty scene? We haven't talked since AJ won his, and then I assume you guys all saw friggin' McCready there walk in and walk out with everything.
Dude, I don't understand. He looked disgusting.
I watched it live. It was insane.
Dense. It's unbelievable, just the amount of mass and the amount of mass he's put on in a very short amount of time. Like
he hasn't taken long off season.
Someone commented and they were like
3 years, I think.
Someone commented on his post and they were like, "I'm pretty sure you have the record for turning pro and then winning a pro show because it was only an hour."
It's incredible. It's incredible what he has been able to do. And if you look at he trains balls to the wall all day, every day. Coverage is just ridiculous.
That kid's a workhorse. Yeah, truly,
yeah. He's
and you see him go through his prep too, and he just does it.
He loves
he's still hitting heavy ass squat and deadlift 3 days before, and it's like, how do you do that?
He's one of the guys with iron joints. His body's just nonstop.
At least I hope so. From a rehab point of view, I see that stuff and I'm terrified for him. I would hate to see him blow something out hard just because he has much potential.
He's such a talent, man.
He's working so well, and that's what you enjoy. He's never gonna not train that way.
No.
So until something does happen.
I wonder if he'll jump to the dark side. I don't know. Maybe Leroy, you've talked to him a couple times, haven't you?
He had him on he's in no rush, but I don't know if he's ever outright said yes, but he's very open in saying he wants to take this as far as he can, which, if you look at, a good example of being Jared Feather, eventually he got to a point where the logical next step was to do that, and here he is, IFBB Pro. I think if you look at Chris and his development now, A, being natural, B, being 22, you combine even 2 more years on top of, compound 2 years of what he's doing from now, so he's still 24, throw in a little bit of sauce, he would be a very high-level 212 competitor easily within 2 years, easily.
Well, he's doing similar to what Jared did. Jared was winning he was winning pro shows at similar age.
Yeah, I didn't realize how young Jared was actually until I watched his interview today. He's only 27.
Yeah, he's the same age as me, which is just wild. He's going to be a force. He already is a force, but he's going to be you put a few more pounds on him, he could hang with some of those top Olympia competitors, man.
I don't know if he's. I don't know if he'd be up quite there yet, but
a few more pounds. I'm talking in classic because he's in classic.
Yeah. I think when you compare him to Chris Bumstead, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, but he's still so young. Obviously Chris is young too, but you figure if he's 3 more years, he's 30, 31. Look where he is now.
Yeah.
And give Jared 3 more years. You're easily saying he's going to be a very top level competitor without a doubt. Look at him. He's still so young.
I think Jared said he hasn't even put the foot on the gas in terms of the special supplements either.
No.
Which I think he said he tends to kind of or wants to kind of turn that up a little bit, but he said he's been kind of slow on the pedal for which he looks like that already. It's gonna be disgusting, nasty.
What'd you guys think of AJ's win?
Deserved.
I think in his second show, he definitely improved.
He looked a lot better.
And he's talked about like what he did in that first show, which, I mean, I guess maybe makes sense. I think it was a very silly move, but obviously, he got his pro card eventually anyway. I just think screwing, you don't, throwing in a natural diuretic as almost a Hail Mary when you're already in a good position is just asking for trouble, in my mind. I'm one that takes a very, very simple approach to any sort of peaking protocol, because if you're already looking fantastic the week leading up, like, why add in all these variables that you can't control necessarily? But hopefully that's like the message he got from it, because when he didn't do that, he looked lights out in Italy's show.
He looked really good in that second show.
The guy
it was night and day different.
The guy that beat him in his first show, he won the middleweight. It was between him and Chris at the BNBFs there, and it was
is that the guy you just posted today?
Yeah,
Leroy?
Yeah,
he looked nasty.
Liam, yeah, he's an older competitor, and he's relatively new too. And I talked to AJ after he had came second, and he said the guy just came out of nowhere because he's a little bit older. Like, no one knew about him because he's not like a social media guy, and he just like showed up. And I mean, we saw what happened with him and AJ, and even when he was up there with Chris in the overall, like, Chris was obviously a lot bigger, but when you compared their shape and stuff, like, it wasn't a massive. What's the
difference between them? Yeah.
Oh yeah, like visually, you're you're like, fuck, like, Chris is just, he's so muscular. But when you looked at Liam, like, his front lat spread, like, his waist was like this big, and his lats, lower body needs to come up a little bit. But that's like, I think when it was him and AJ, he just had such a good shape that it was hard to not give it to him, even if muscularly they might have been on par. I think his frame kind of edged AJ out a little bit. And then I had a feeling when AJ said he was doing an INBA show, just historically they're not as competitive over there, so I was pretty confident once he made that announcement that they were going to give it to him. Or not give it to him, but like, he was going to earn it, because him bringing the standard that he was, I didn't think that it was going to be quite as much of a fight. But he still wants his WNBF one. That's his ultimate goal, which is good. I'm glad that that's not pushed to the wayside now, because I know how much that means to him, which will be cool to see him chase that down. He intends to compete, I think he said maybe next fall.
Oh, really? That early?
Yeah, I don't think he's taken the year. I think he said he might compete again next fall, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it would start prep again next fall. Maybe, I don't know, but he's not. He said he doesn't want to take his own away from the States this time, which is interesting.
That might get interesting if he makes his way over here. That'll be fun. I think there's a lot of people that are going to be competing next year, like some big names. So hopefully I can actually do well early on, where I can actually put myself up against some of these people and really test myself.
Yep. Speaking of freaks, is Josh Kenyon? Is he one of the ones you were thinking about? I knew he was going to do this year, and he capped at prep and got huge again.
I can't imagine he wouldn't, because it has been since a while.
Well, he did the Mayhem last year, or no? Was it 18?
Was it 18?
Yeah,
it was 18.
Yeah, because then he took 19 off compete. Yeah, and COVID fucked him this year. He's in school, I think, still. So I think a lot of his decision-making is based on his university situation. But he might be, I mean, you figure if it's been this long now, he might be done. He's a pro in any situation as soon as it comes up. Like, there's no mind.
Absolutely.
He'll be a top pro quickly, too.
He got outclassed by Ace, who's been competing for how many years. Dude's like 20 years older, so the muscle maturity, like, if Josh had competed at any other show, he had a pro card in his first show, hands down. Especially in any other organization, like INBA, OCB, like, he's gonna walk off, like, done. Just he went to the biggest WNBF show on the West Coast, which rightfully so. Like, I think he should have, just to show, compare himself to some really good talent.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when he comes in again with, pre-prep data that he didn't have before, right? First prep, and for him to get to where he was, like, now he's going to go in, especially if he works with Jeff Alberts again, I mean, they'll walk right through it and get him in even better shape with.
He'll be lights out next
10
time, like
pounds
absolute
more muscle
lights
or
out.
whatever the hell he's put on now, and I'll make sure he's off stage by the time I prep again.
Smart man.
No, I'd love to get up there. There's so many people I would love to compete against, like, just like, you know, I mean, even you two, right? Just friends that I've met through this whole thing.
Absolutely.
The photo would mean so much more to me than the show itself. You know what I mean? To like be up there, you know, if me and you do 2022, to like be up there hitting a side chest, grinning ear to ear, like that photo would be up on
I love
the
it,
wall.
man.
You know what I mean? Like that's what this stuff. Like I've spoke with Ace. You mentioned Ace, which rings true to me in this conversation. Like I said to him, because he was a lightweight, and he said, like, man, like I'm excited to watch your journey. Like I'm on the end of my journey and seeing all you young guys come up, like it just brings back so many memories. And I said, like, you know, I'd love to share the stage with you one day, just because I think that would be so cool. And just have had, I think he was on my podcast really early when I started doing it, maybe 2018. So we're 2 years later now, and me and him still chat once in a while. And it's just the people you meet through this is so cool, right?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And Leroy, I prefer not a side chest. How about a most muscular?
No, I don't got traps. I'll meet you in the middle, ab and thigh.
How about I post the most muscular and
Sure.
you post the side chest? That's how it's gonna go.
Yeah. Favorite pose,
I want
gentlemen?
nothing of those titties.
Just walk away at that point. Just wave and walk away.
You know who I'm excited to see prep again is Jack Thorburn. Because he gets disgustingly shredded.
He brings it. Yeah.
That's the standard. I mean, but that's what you get when you're an absolute robot for
Ever.
his entire bodybuilding career of 8 years or something crazy long. Like, the dude hasn't deviated ever. So
I remember he told me, I had him on the podcast once, he told me he was short like a couple grams of lettuce and walked down to the grocery store to go get lettuce.
I remember hearing that on that one too.
Yeah, you're the most fucking psychotic but awesome dude I've ever met in my life.
it's
He doesn't
interesting.
care.
It's
That's just what he does. Like he literally does not. I ask him all the, like, how do you do it? He's like, I don't know. Like I just like there's a part where like the three of us are like bodybuilding, but he's like times that by like 10.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how he.
I'm completely happy doing my other things and enjoying other aspects.
Yeah.
But that's a trade-off.
Oh,
So,
for sure.
you know,
Yeah, like he talks about his lack of relationships and significant others and, friend groups and all that kind of stuff because he's so invested in his bodybuilding, and it's going to pay off, right? Like we'll do this podcast again in 3 years and he'll probably be like a, middleweight world champion in something, or heavyweight, whatever he'll be by then. But it's just, when you see someone that dedicated, it's going to pay off. It's just a matter of time. And it's just crazy to see when, you think that, for me anyways, I think of how invested I am in this, and it pales into comparison to what he does, right?
And he's not afraid to do the not sexy things and push his weight up and all that sort of stuff.
Nope.
He doesn't care to just look good on the gram.
Oh, and he's very blunt and honest about it. And, I love his Q&As because people will ask like dumbass questions and he'll like be a dumbass right back. But someone asked him, this wasn't recent, but I remember it because it made me laugh. It was like, when was the last time you were with like a girl? And he was like, and he's like stirring his cream of rice, and he's like, I don't know what he said back, but it was just like such a blatantly like sarcastic answer. But
He gave a nice smart ass comment. Yeah.
yeah, it was just like a perfect Jack Thorburn response.
I wish I would have seen it because I would have found his response hilarious.
Oh yeah, I always turn it. But man, he's doing like cardio at 4 a.m. with his nose strips on like every day, and he's eating his same meal. He's got it set up with the mustard and the sauce,
Sriracha.
Like I don't know, he just loves it. I love to see it.
It's commitment taken to the nth degree. That's for sure. I'll give him that. nobody can take that away from him. That's for sure.
No. And it's interesting to see like someone like him who takes it all the way, and then there's, maybe us three, for example, that take it 80 to 90% of the way. And like, I wonder if that 10% of difference for him between us is going to yield such a greater end result, or if it's maybe just curbing his like attitude towards it and not necessarily giving him as much benefit as maybe if he just eased off the gas a little bit and had a little more relaxed lifestyle, but maybe not.
He certainly makes me look like a weekend warrior.
That's right. I guess that's what I'm trying to say is like when you take, I would say the three of us are like definitely way above the general gym goer, but then you take like him, for example, that's just so invested in it, 110%, no gives, nothing. Is that going to get him such a greater end result than maybe the three of us would ever get? Obviously, take out genetics and all that kind of stuff, because yes, the end result's going to be different. But is his degree of intensity and focus 10 world championships and ours a pro card and a couple pro wins? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the difference?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I consider myself at close to like 98, at 95 to 98%. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Even that extra 5% then between you and him, like, is it going to be such a dramatic end result if he just like chilled a little bit? But if it doesn't cause him any like
I'm doing too much other shit.
You got a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah.
I just refuse to take on stuff that's going to affect bodybuilding most of the time. So
I'm going to be in James's shoes soon because we're getting married next year, and she wants to be like with child this time next year, bun in the oven.
Oh,
Which
man.
means I will be in prep with a newborn.
Change your stuff. Change your stuff. Especially, I mean, you've got your setup. Like, my next 5 years is almost like crucial for ATP performance with some of the plans that we have in place. So, like, that's where I'm taking, like, I'm prepping. I'm really serious about it. I want the pro card, but there's, like, my professional career, education, family life, like, growing ATP performance, and then it's, like, my own lifting late at night. Like, when I've done everything else, like, I'm going to probably get off here and do my cardio just so I get it done. Like, you know, so just moving things around and being flexible, which is the benefit of having a home gym. I can do that, but do I really want to start my squats at like 9 p.m. at night or something? Like, probably not going to.
That's why I like talking to like Cliff and guys that are on the other end of the coin, because it gives that perspective of like, you know, when you're in your shoes and the shoes I'll soon be in, like, okay, I still want to be, like, Jeff Alberts is my favorite example of that. The man's been competing for 20 years, very, very successful at it, and that's what I want. Or someone like Ace, or, you know, like Cliff. Like, I really enjoy talking to him because he gives me that little bit of, like, remember, you're only 26, this journey can be as long as you want it to be, and there's so much more to life. Doesn't mean you have to necessarily take away from it. You just have to play your cards right and plan things appropriately, and you can still be extremely successful. You can still achieve your goals, but not without sacrificing your home life, like James, your business, all that kind of stuff, because it can be done. Because, I mean, in natural bodybuilding, I'd say most pros have day jobs and families, and they're not relying on sponsorship money and all that kind of stuff, right? So for me, that's why I love doing these podcasts with, you know, like Brett, for example. Like, even though he's really not much older than us, he has achieved a lot of stuff within the sport that we all want to do. So for me, talking to him, it's like, okay, you have that little bit of hindsight to say, like, okay, this is some stuff you can focus on, but don't also let it take away from, you know, time with your wife and your kids and your family. And at the end of the day, that stuff still should matter very much.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, it's like bodybuilding is like, I mean, a lot of it's the big things are sleep, eating, and training. And it's like, okay, if you set aside your sleep time, okay, 8 hours, good, okay.
8 hours, James. Write that down, would you?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Like 4 or 5. Yeah.
Can you give me 8 minutes? I just need 8 minutes.
8 to 10 for me and Leroy, and I don't know how many for James. Depends on probably Bella.
This is funny. I mean, and there are studies that show that like there are a subset of people that can function successfully with like 5 or 6, and I truly believe I'm one of them because I have to be because I've been doing it for so long. But I was telling this story actually today to someone. There was a time in grad school where 3 days out of the week I slept for 45 minutes. And that was it because I was working overnight. I went to class from like 8 to 5, came home, did my work, ate dinner, went to bed, and then I had to be at work at 9 o'clock at night, got home from work at 6 to 6:30 and had class at 8 in the morning again. So it was like, I mean, it can be done. It's just not ideal. It's not ideal whatsoever. But that's, again, coming back to Leroy, like there's certain times in your life where things will take a priority. And to me, I was doing that so I could pay for the engagement ring. Like it wasn't long term. It was like, all right, this is the sacrifice. Yep. Training's got to take a hit because that was fucking awful. But you got.
I sort of did that when I was in school 5 years ago. There were times where I just barely had time to do anything except for school training, and then sleep sometimes, you know. But now I'm at the point where I can structure my schedule a lot nicer, and I can sleep 8 to 10 hours every night.
It's just like prep, though, right? You invest a certain chunk of time for a certain goal.
Yeah.
And for James, it was investing however long that period of time was, where 3 days of the week he's sleeping 45 minutes because I gotta save money for this wedding ring. Like, it's not forever, and I think that's where people get hung up. Is like COVID's a really good example of that. Like, people just have washed this entire year off. And it's just, it's a waste and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, hey, but you have so much more life to live after this. Like, do you really want to get yourself in a hole, like mentally or financially or whatever it is, you know, more so than maybe life throws at you because you're not making good decisions. But
yeah, like, are you just going to bury your head in the sand, or are you going to do what you can with what you've got?
100%. The world keeps turning, and if you continue to like take those steps, like James, 45 minutes of sleep, like those aren't easy steps to make, but you kept taking them, and eventually it's done. And it's not easy. It's like when you're in the depths of prep, and you know you're hungry, and the last thing you want to do is even like lift a fork to your mouth because you're so tired. But you do it, and you get over it, and here we are now, all full and happy.
And I think that's the time. Like, prep is the time where it's like, it's most, I'd say, invasive of the rest of your life, is because it's just so, you just don't have any physical or mental energy to commit to, at a certain point, to almost anything but what you got to do, like the boxes you have to tick.
Yeah.
Like normal off season, like, you know, you got plenty of hours in the day to do your thing and do other things, and, you know, spend time with family and all that sort of stuff. I mean, even if you're, you know, having to get your meals in, it's like, just, you know, you can get your meals in still and you know, be mentally with people or you know, actually engaged with people, rather than just being purely focused on, I got to get my training in, get my cardio in. God, I'm hungry. I have no energy for anything. I have to pee, but I don't have the energy to go to the bathroom to pee. And I can hold it for 10 minutes, like, you know, like all this bullshit. But
the game of life.
Thanks for making prep seem super and like awesome as I dive. I'm thinking in my head, like, what the fuck did I sign up for again?
It's just you got to be a little. I've told a lot of people this. You got to be a little twisted in the head to do it. But
a year from now, you're gonna be on the other end of the coin, and me and Dan are gonna be like, "Fuck, man, 30 weeks out, let's go," and you're gonna be like, "Huh, I remember what that was like."
Yeah, shoveling down food.
Yeah, eating friggin' slushies in front of us.
It'll be
I'm gonna miss my 600 grams of carbs days at some point.
What are your calories at right now?
Like 3,800, 3,900.
Yeah,
I'm not that active
36.
either. Like I barely leave my house. I'm not kidding. I leave my house to get groceries, to get gym equipment. And to see my family once in a while too. That's like the three reasons I leave my house.
I love how they're a third.
The third, yes. If my mom watches this, she's gonna hate me. Sorry.
I can come visit today. Oh, you're so nice. Yeah, I just gotta go get a barbell up the street. I'll hit you up after.
That's funny, James. I was telling you that my mom came to decorate my porch with Christmas lights, and I was like, Mom, I gotta go pick up weights. I'll be back in an hour.
I love it. All right, boys. Well, I'm glad we could touch base again. As always, the 100th episode. Jeez.
100th episode.
Here we are.
It's big.
We're basically.
What episode is this of us? Was like 4 plus that deleted one that will never be in existence again.
The ether.
the forbidden episode. Yeah. I'd say 4 or 5, and then I would have probably had a single one with each of you beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
That's true too. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
I think I had 2 singles. I think, and James, maybe you had 1 or 2.
Yeah, we did one.
Yeah.
We did a BFR one, didn't we?
We did BFR, and then we did one on like COVID and I don't know what
the
else.
COVID cast.
Yeah, the COVID cast.
Welcome to the COVID cast.
That was, man, think of how long that podcast was, and that was like when things were beginning. That was like a year ago now. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
It feels like 10 years has gone by since then. Everything has transpired. COVID hasn't even been around for like a year, and it feels like an eternity. Like it's like a completely different world almost.
Yeah, we're getting all shut down up here again.
I can see it happening with us again, especially. Pittsburgh, Dan, where you are. I've got a buddy there. He said it's getting really bad with cases. Delaware's not either, but
I've heard that. I got to the point where I don't even look at cases anymore. But I've heard similar sentiments though.
I only know just because healthcare, and they're preparing, they're preparing our clinic for us to pretty much lose half our patients again, and just be like, all right, what do we do with our jobs? So that's always fun.
Thank God.
Another one of those where it's like, cool, might be unemployed again. Sweet.
That's the ATP comes in for you, man. So it's long term.
Sign up. I got bills to pay.
Use code James at checkout.
Use code Feed My Child.
All right, gentlemen. Pleasure as always.
Yeah, always good time.
I appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Dan's like, speak for yourself. Fuck him.
I don't even know how to respond to a smart ass comment like that.
Are you going to train now, James?
I gotta finish that practice test and then do some cardio. So it'll be midnight before I'm down.
Fit through the computer.
I know.
All right, I'm going to bed.
I'm about to go to bed too. So.
Okay, peace, boys. Have a good night.
See you, boys.